Well, hello, for this last one in the series, not our last Devo for sure, but the last series, my dear friend Matt MacConnell. Before we get going here, Matt, thanks for being with us and sharing some of your insight. You know, I mean, we love to sit around and just talk about golf and golf swings. I mean, in fact, we're kind of golf nerds in that way.
Absolutely.
But being able to apply it to our spiritual life, you really begin to see there are unbelievable parallels between the two. So it's very interesting. This is our last series, and I wanted to talk a little bit just about being a finisher. You know, there's guys on tour, and gals too. She's a closer. He's a finisher. You know, Tiger, when he was at his peak, it's like he closed it, man. Every time he got near it, he closed it. It felt his completion rate, his kill rate was unbelievable when he got in the hunt. And then others would kind of falter. Well, it's not just the tour players. It's also maybe you. Maybe I'm getting close to my best score. I can't finish it. I panic. All I have to do is make bogey on the last hole and you make triple bogey. Or all I got to do is make, if I can just par the last hole. Or you get in a tournament and you're leading and then you begin to panic and look around and you just feel like you're not a closer. You're not a finisher. Where's that come from, and what have you seen in your own experience? What makes for a closer and what makes for somebody who just struggles to finish?
I think twofold there, Jeff. The first thing that comes to my mind is your ability to create a process, something you can depend on, something you go to over and over again. You work on it each and every week when you play, whether it's a casual round of golf at the club or in a tournament competition. It's your process is the same.
Yeah.
You're going to think the same way. You're going to constantly work on. One of the things we talked in one of the earlier series was about having a quiet mind and being around some of the best players in the world. When guys aren't able to close, often you hear about them with a cluttered mind or a mind that's racing. They can't slow it down to the point where they can conform or perform, I should say. Both conform and perform.
Yeah, exactly.
But when I think of performance and being able to close, the first thing I always talk about is exactly that, is how do you have a quiet mind? And you have that mind by having a process that you stick through, and you know it's going to be there.
Yeah.
You know it's going to be there, whether it's the last shot on 18, whether it's the putt on the first hole. It's having a consistent process that's going to be there through thick and thin.
You know, I don't know if you guys remember, but think about this. Remember all those WWJD bracelets everybody's wearing?
Absolutely.
What would Jesus do? And I used to think about, well, if somebody never spends time in spiritual disciplines, they don't have a prayer life, they really don't spend very much time in the Word. They may go to a links group every once in a while, but it's not an important priority. They're really not involved in a community. And then, and they get in a crisis situation and they're trying to finish something, and they go, oh, well, what would Jesus do? Well, if you don't have the process in place, you can try to have confidence, but it's a false hope because they really have nothing to fall back into in terms of your fundamentals, like we've been essentially talking about for the last 6 weeks. So, I think about asking me, well, what would Kobe Bryant do? Well, he would do a 360 dunk, and he'd dunk over that guy that's 6'8". Okay, I'm going to wear a KD bracelet. What would Kobe do? And that doesn't mean I'm going to be able to do it. I've got no process. I've got no game. I've got nothing. So we want you to have game. We want you to finish the course. You can't finish the course, according to what Matt said. Spiritually speaking, you cannot finish without process. Listen to what Paul tells Timothy. Now, you got to know the backdrop to what Paul had encouraged Timothy. Timothy, absorb yourself in your calling. Absorb yourself in your teaching, because then you'll ensure salvation not only for yourself, but for those who hear you. Timothy, so he's written Timothy 2 letters, and this is at the end of his second letter. Having given him the process, he then finishes this way. He says in 2 Timothy chapter 4, Timothy, he says, I fought the good fight. I've finished the course. I've kept the faith. In the future there is laid up for me the crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, will award to me on that day, and not only to me, but also to all who have loved his appearing. Have you loved his appearing enough to where you have a process? You have a spiritual process in your life, not just kind of a smorgasbord. Please don't just be a spiritual consumer. Engage in a journey with Jesus. Have a process. Have a prayer life. Have a Bible fellowship prayer life. Be in the Word. Use those things so that you might finish the course. Spiritually speaking, I can promise you, finishing a tournament is pretty awesome. Haven't done it as many times as I would have liked to, but I've finished a few in my day, and it's a great feeling. But I'll tell you, finishing the course of this life is much more significant times infinity than ever finishing a golf course. A golf tournament. I can promise you those golf tournaments will be forgotten the moment I breathe my last, as will any round you've ever played. So when you're finishing, make sure that you have the proper foundation, that you have the grip and the alignment, and that you can keep target focused. And then analogously, be a man of the Word, a woman of the Word. Be someone who's committed to prayer. Be someone who's committed to community. You know, I need these guys, and there's guys behind this camera that I need and love. Be someone that's committed to community, but especially be committed to your relationship with Jesus. So I hope this little quick series has been helpful, and hopefully it's helped you a little with your golf game, but hopefully it's helped you even more with your spiritual life. Matt, on behalf of all of our Devo listeners and watchers, thank you. We'll have to do this again.
Look forward to it.
You're pretty good at it. I think you could take my job. So anyway, we love you. Have a great day, and talk to you soon.